So Kimberly Cheatle, she's in a committee hearing right now. AOC is about to question her. I hope you guys are ready for this. My understanding is not a single Democrat has asked for a resignation. Only Republican Congress people have asked for her resignation, and this is very interesting. My understanding is she failed miserably at her position. There was huge negligence and failures. Some of them I've covered seem to be, you can allege and claim that they are on purpose. For example, the sniper can see the shooter set up his gun but doesn't shoot till the shooter shoots first. So stuff like that, you can actually make an argument that this was a failure on purpose. Anyways, so they recognize that they failed. Kimberly Cheatle will say we failed, but not a single Democrat has asked for her resignation, which is a little bit suspicious in my opinion, because you would think that she's dangerous to Biden as well. But anyways, or to any Democratic president. But maybe I don't understand politics. Anyways, I want to see how AOC is going to question Kimberly Cheatle. She's been doing really bad in her questioning with other people. Let's see if AOC is going to hold her feet in the fire. I'm going to predict that she's actually going to just give her lame questions, easy questions to answer. Let's see if I'm wrong. Let's go, Kimberly.
Director Cheatle, respectfully, what you had just laid out about 60 days, we are currently in the midst of an especially concentrated presidential campaign in the moment. That is also paired with, of course, elections happening across the country that are happening in about 100 days. So the notion of a report coming out in 60 days when the threat environment is so high in the United States, irrespective of party, is not acceptable. And I think it's very important to understand that. This is not theater. This is not about jockeying. This is about the safety of some of the most highly targeted and valued targets internationally and domestically in the United States of America.
So how come you didn't ask her for a resignation? If you recognize that this is a threat, that the Secret Service is failing at their job, and we need to know right now how the failure was, where was it coming from, and we need to know who knew about this failure. If you recognize this, why are you not asking her to be resigned? Why are you not asking for this person to not even be in the Secret Service directorate anymore? Not a single Democrat asked for her resignation.
So the idea that a report will be finalized in 60 days, let alone prior to any actionable decisions that would be made, is simply not acceptable. It has been 10 days since an assassination attempt on a former president of the United States, regardless of party. There need to be answers. Again, this party, this committee, this is not a moment of theater. We have to make policy decisions, and we have to make them now. We do. And that may be and that may require legislation. That may require policy that we must pass in the immediate term. And without that, we are flying blind. So the lack of answers and the lack of report is just simply not something that we can accept here. Director Cheatle, is there a standard perimeter that the Secret Service establishes around an event, or are those perimeters independently determined per event and scenario?
There is no standard. Every event and every venue is different and treated as such.
So each event has a different...
There's no standard? What? What do you mean there's no standard? There's no standard of operation? I would assume there is a standard. The first thing you need to do is get some aerial footage of the area, secure 500 feet perimeter in a circle. What? 500 parameter radius from the position that the president is going. What? You would think that there's a system for this. No, what? Then you would contact. First thing you do is contact law enforcement and say we're coming. Then get some teams to assist you in securing some positions. Get some aerial footage to see what's the highest points that you need to secure. Where are some vantage points you need to keep an eye. What do you mean there's no standard for this? What?
Perimeter that is established depending on the logistics of that event. Now, you established earlier that the building upon which the shooter operated from was outside of that established perimeter, correct, for the Butler, Pennsylvania event?
It was outside of our secure perimeter, yes.
Now, that building was, I believe, 500. How far away was that building from the president?
It was approximately 200 yards.
200 yards. Now, the individual used an AR-15 in order to act out his assassination attempt. An AR-15 has a range of about 400 to 600 yards. My question is, why does the Secret Service perimeter, why is the Secret Service protective perimeter shorter than one of the most popular semi-automatic weapons in the United States?
Wow, what a great question. Why did it take her 2 minutes to get to this question? This is the only question she's going to be able to ask, by the way. And this is the only question she actually asked. This is a great question. Let's see. It's actually an easy question for Kimberly to answer. So again, AOC is showing that she's really not putting Kimberly's feet to the fire here. She did say it's unacceptable for a report to take 60 days. But that means nothing. She still is okay with the report taking 60 days. Like, it's not going to change anything for her. Like, that's not the significant Secret Service failure that she's looking to answer. But that's a really good question. But I don't think she's going to be able to ask another question. She's just wasted all her time for nothing. Anyways, let's keep going.
There are a number of weapons out there with a number of ranges. Again, an advance was completed. The determination of the perimeter, I'm not going to speak to specifics, but there are a number of factors that are taken into account when we determine our perimeter. Some of it has to do with terrain, some of it has to do with buildings, some of it has to do with assets and resources that are available.
And so what I'm hearing is that a perimeter was not established outdoors in an outdoor venue that would prevent an AR-15, which is one of the most common weapons used in mass shootings, from being able to be within the range of Secret Service protection.
A perimeter was established, and even though there were buildings that were outside of that perimeter, it wasn't just that building, there were a number of buildings in the area, and there was overwatch that was created to help mitigate some of those buildings.
Yeah, but Overwatch is obviously the Overwatch failed. You're saying to help mitigate, but that mitigation failed. So you didn't actually answer AOC's question. Holy moly, AOC's question is like the easiest question to answer. It's like the most timid, most tame question. It's like she's weary in her questioning, but still the Secret Service director cannot answer. Like, why don't you secure the perimeter? So you are saying that you tried to mitigate it with Overwatch, but you failed. Your mitigation attempts failed? Is that what you're saying here? So are you saying we should never ever trust your mitigation Overwatch operations?
Respectfully, Dr. Cheatle, as well, as a person who has experienced an enormous amount of threat incidents, including incidents that have never been reported publicly, there is a common pattern that happens here, whether it's Secret Service, FBI, Capitol Police, local departments.
Is he going to turn this into
After a critical
guns?
security failure, we often hear there will be an independent investigation.
Oh my god, I actually really like AOC right now. I really like her. But she could have pushed her a little bit more. She could push the Secret Service director a little bit more. But I really like what she's doing.
That independent investigation gets set up. Usually the expectation is between 2 to 3 months after the incident, and then nothing really occurs from there.
Exactly.
The report is usually not satisfactory to the questions that are usually being raised here, and most importantly, corrective action is rarely taken. If I were to state anything that I think is profoundly important, is that we need to have answers to the public. Ideally, I would encourage you and the agency to be more forthright with the members that still have yet to have their questioning, because the public deserves to have full confidence, and the stakes are too high.
How about we put her in jail?
The violence that could break out in this political moment, regardless of party, in the event of someone getting hurt,
She should be in prison.
constitutes a national security threat to the entire country. Thank you, and I yield back.
Could I go
That's
back
it.
to something?
That's all she got. That's all she wrote. She didn't even say anything. Really, the only question she asked in the whole situation, she took 5 minutes, wasted 5 minutes of our time. The only question she asked was, why did you not secure 400 feet if most guns that are shoot are that have this kind of range? So she almost kind of turned it into a weapons discussion. She turned it into, instead of this is a Secret Service failure, she's like, oh, we should get rid of these weapons from our street, really, is how she turned it. And she honestly missed the mark now. She did say that she's not going to be satisfied with the report, and she did say that she's not satisfied with Kimberly's full discussion here and explanation, but it's still not suffice. AOC could have done so much more in this questioning. She really didn't do anything.
Yes, please, feel free, Director.
Ma'am, if I could just speak to something you said at the outset when you started your questioning. I want to assure you and everyone on this committee that I'm not waiting for a report to take action. We have been conducting analysis.
Yeah, but you
all
said no one
along,
got fired.
And we have been adding additional features to our security.
What, like an Overwatch mitigation feature? Like, we know that those features failed.
Details since this incident occurred.
What a joke. What a joke. You guys believe her? What kind of additional systems did she put in place? What is she talking about? And why were these systems not in place before? Why are we acting like Secret Service was instituted today? Or this is the first 10 years of the Secret Service? They've been in action for over 50 years. They work with a bunch of other organizations, and they have access and to insane amounts of funding. We're gonna act like Secret Service. They added new procedures and systems today because of this mitigation. How about you reduce the procedures system, get rid of Kimberly cheatle, get rid of this director, and honestly get rid of the whole Secret Service altogether. Obviously, they're a complete failure. They're not necessary at all. Just add more policemen in the area. To be honest with you, I think the policemen were the ones that were trying to mitigate any failure. Even the sniper of the Secret Service couldn't even shoot the shooter. I mean, imagine how much of a failure these people are. Anyways, interested in your opinions, guys. What do you think about this situation? I mean, there's so much coming out from the Secret Service Committee hearing, but it's basically Kimberly's just so able to. She's doing a masterclass at like deflecting and redirecting, and the answers do not suffice for anyone. And I can see everybody in the actual Congress is getting really mad.